Always look for food with the bordbia quality mark, so you can relax and enjoy it more.
Ireland is the 5th largest exporter of beef in the world. Almost 90% of the 550,000 tonnes of beef produced annually is exported. But the farm I'm visiting today in County Wexford is a little unusual. Everything here is produced specifically for the two hotels, owned by brothers Pat and Tom Redmond. And I asked them to explain how the farm works.
We rear approximately 530 Angus every year from calf. We buy in calves and we rear them for calves, and we utilise them and use them in both of our hotels, the Amber Springs and the Ashdown Park Hotel in Gorey.
As well as rearing them, you feed them too from your farm. Tell me about that, Tommy.
Well, we grow all our own beet, maize, obviously grass, silage, and corn on the farm, mixed as a combination, making up different rations and different diets. So it's all a very sustainable operation.
And what breed are we looking at here?
We're looking at all Angus heifers actually. We don't do bulls, not that there's anything wrong with bulls, but we found that the marbling and the flavour and the fat of the heifers was just tastier. So we're just completely heifers now.
I think what I like about the Angus, it's very consistent. It's not a very big carcass, isn't that right?
Well, the carcass size is hugely important. The right size cut for our operation. It's very suitable for the chefs.
So how old are the cattle here?
Those cattle are about 17 or 18 months old. We start killing from 18 months old up to 23 or 4 months, but we would be killing some at this age that are actually housed in the sheds at the moment.
And last year, you won the Origin Green Dairy to Beef Award.
I think the reason we probably won that award was because of we're buying our calves in, everything has been reared and finished on the farm. We're utilising all our own feedstuffs. We're utilising the finished product. We're killing within a 10-mile radius. But Origin Green is fantastic, I think, for promoting agriculture and farming in Ireland.
So between the two hotels, you have 7 food outlets. How many people are you feeding a week?
Well, we do probably about 5,000 to 6,000 beef meals between beef and farm produce every week.
That's a lot. So that's why you have to process so many animals a week, isn't that right?
That's what we need to do. We need to kill on average 10 a week. It's higher on some weeks and slightly lower maybe in the off peaks, but an average of 10 a week is 500 a year.
As well as the beef, Pat and Tom's farm supplies as many vegetables as it can for their restaurants in their two hotels. The vegetable grower is Andrea McCann. Andrea, you're responsible for growing a lot of the vegetables for the hotels.
Yep, I am. And this time of year, we're moving away from the salads and the tunnel stuff, looking at a lot of roots and brassicas, like the cattle are looking at the fodder beet, I suppose, and the maize. And we start here with, this is a squash called Turk's Turban. A lovely nutty flesh, doesn't get very big and often grown just for decorative purposes. Mm-hmm. This chap here is a small Dill's Atlantic Giant, and they taste good when they're small, but not when they're huge.
Okay.
Okay. And this little brute here is Knucklehead.
Knucklehead.
Grown for ugliness, but a very nice nutty squash as well. Into the roots, then we have fantastic carrots this year. Parsnips are coming on, a bit smaller, but they are coming on.
Oh, yes.
Celeriac here. The smell of them is just
You
delicious.
will have no idea how many people ask me, well, how do you cook these? Do you do anything with the tops of it?
I hadn't, but it is very close to celery in taste, maybe more kick.
Bit small, but they'll grow bigger, will they?
They will grow bigger.
Wow,
yep.
Amazing.
Yep,
just
still early
beautiful.
enough.
As fresh as it gets.
This is a Brussels sprout called Nelson.
Look at.
He's a little bit early this year, but the Christmas parties start very soon, and
Is there any reason why some of them are big and some of these are small? Is there any reason for that?
The smallest ones on the stem will be closest to the ground and up here at the crown, and I think it's just the way the nutrients travel and the prime positioned lads harvest. The minute these are planted, the bionet goes down on them, and that's to prevent pests like cabbage root fly, rabbits, pigeons, deer, and the beautiful pheasants from laying into them. Purple sprouting broccoli, very tender stem, needs very little cooking.
So this is another type of broccoli. What is this?
This is a broccoli called Fiesta from organic seed. Yeah,
Stunning.
really lovely.
Now, see all the tops and the trimmings?
Yep.
What do you do with them?
All of that is loaded up and brought down to the yard, and it goes into the diet feeder with the fodder beet and the maize from the other side of the farm and into the cattle, and they love it. They get parsnip tops, all the brassica leaves, anything that's green and full of vitamins
waste.
and minerals
waste.
goes. Yeah, and in turn then the dung from the sheds goes out on the land here when we mulch the brassicas that are left
So it's
over.
the full cycle.
A full cycle, yep, and a closed circle. Very, very few bought in inputs, maybe the odd bit of chicken manure or seaweed where a soil test shows that it's needed.
Do you know, you're some woman.
Thank you.
God bless your hands. Look at them, hard-working hands. You're a mighty woman. Keep up the great work. Well done,
Okay.
Andrea. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Now it's time to cook some of the Redmond farm beef. Val, it's lovely to meet you.
And you?
Thank you for allowing me into your kitchen.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You know, it's great. I've been out on the farm this morning and out to see all the lovely cuts. You're the man responsible for cooking them.
Yes,
Tell
I
me
am.
about what we have here.
We have our prime cuts on the front here, our strip line, our ribeye and our fillet. Other cuts that I mightn't be so familiar with are the cuts that we use for slow cooking. The likes of our top rib, very popular here for our carvery lunch on a Sunday. This one here then is our rump. This one is very popular for our banqueting functions, weddings. You can see a nice covering of fat there that all melts down through the meat, keeps it lovely and moist and keeps the flavour in. This is our brisket. We actually cook this one for 24 hours. We have some slow ovens, cook it at about 95 degrees.
So what is this cut here?
So this cut is the chuck. So we use that for our burgers. We've done a lot of tests on the different cuts of meat to see on our burgers to see which one would be the best, and we found this one just had the right amount of fat. If you made a burger, I would say the fillet, while it would be nice, it wouldn't have the fat content.
Dry.
It would be dry. You know, this just has the right amount of fat, keeps the moisture in the burger, and it has a lovely flavour as well.
Now, this is one of my favourite steaks.
I mean, that for me is the king of steaks. A lot of people prefer the fillet. For tenderness, absolutely, but for flavour, for me, it's the ribeye all the way.
This looks very impressive.
That is our flat silver side, so we actually do our own corned beef here in the hotel.
Wow.
Again, another very popular cut on the carvery for lunch. So this one has been going for about 7 days, so that needs about another 3 to 4 days before it finishes the cure.
And how do you cook this?
Cook that, we just simply boil it in some stock.
Gorgeous.
It takes 3.5 hours.
Now, what dish are you going to cook for me today?
Right, I'm just going to do a tasting plate for you today, a medallion of fillet, a little beignet then made from our pulled beef, and some of our braised short rib.
Sounds fantastic. And one question everyone asks me, how do you cook the perfect steak? You're going to show us. Let's get cooking.
Okay, Neven, so here we are, the ingredients then that we're going to do for the dish today. So we have a lovely medallion of our fillet,
Looks fab.
and then this is a little portion of our slow-cooked short rib.
How long is that cooked for?
That's cooked for probably about 4 hours. We take it off the bone, then we portion it, and then we just literally pop it back into a little bit of stock for a few minutes just to bring it back up to temperature.
What's the last one here?
Brisket, so this is what we get then after cooking it down
Look at
for
that.
24 hours. It just pulls apart, and we're just going to make like little beignets out of this. So we've a little bit of a lovely smoky barbecue sauce mixed through that. We shape them, and then we panade them, so into some flour, egg and breadcrumbs, and then it just gives a nice bit of texture to the dish as well.
Okay. So what do we do first?
So we've brought our steak up to room temperature. We're just going to season it now with some Maldon salt, a nice season all over. And we have our pan here on, a little drop of oil. So say when the pan is nice and hot.
Again, good hot pan.
It's nothing worse than putting a steak on a cold pan. All the moisture starts to seep out, so you're kind of boiling the steak as opposed to searing
point.
it, you know.
Yeah.
That'll take 2 or 3 minutes on each side. You might give it a quick flash in the oven and then just let it rest again for 5 or 6 minutes.
I think with a hot pan you get a lovely crust on it, especially with the salt.
Absolutely,
Hot
the
pan,
Maldon
yeah,
salt
that's
is really,
beautiful.
really
Yeah,
good for that,
it
for
is.
giving you a nice crust. So while that's kind of going on, I might move to the short rib. To bring that back to temperature, I have some beef stock on here, so if you want to pop that in there for me. We cook that for about 4 hours. We take it off the bone, then we portion it up. The stock then we use we get our bones back from our beef. We make our pots of stock here, so that's what we use then to bring the beef back up to temperature.
Gorgeous. Would that be a medium-high heat you have there?
Yeah, medium to high. You want it kind of high to start off, and then when I flip this over, I might just turn it down a little bit.
Lovely, lovely.
And then just let it go. Yeah, so you see,
look at that.
Lovely crust there on that. Just put in our
Garlic.
a little bit of garlic.
And rosemary,
A bit of
unusual
rosemary.
herb now. And thyme, okay.
And thyme, just a little bit of thyme, just not too much, just to give it a little bit of
Pour it down to
flavour.
flavour.
Butter then, just you need the oil for heat, just to get a good sear on it, and then your butter then will just baste the steak a little bit then as well, just to keep it nice and moist. So when your butter starts to foam like that, you're basically putting the flavour back into the steak.
How do you like your meat cooked?
Medium rare for me is kind of the perfect temperature for me on the fillet, nice and pink, because I think if you cook the fillet especially too much, because of it doesn't have a huge amount of fat, it does tend to dry out. That's not going to take too much more cooking there now, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave that underneath a hot grill there for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll let it rest. So just the last part of our dish then is our beignet. So when we're just about to serve, we'll just deep fry that very quickly, and then we're going to heat up the garnish. Basically everything that's going on the plate today is from Redmond Farm. So
Brilliant.
These are our rainbow carrots.
Are they done with a melon baller?
Yeah, just a little Parisienne spoon, very lightly blanch those in some boiling salted water for 2 or 3 minutes. Then we have some of our purple sprout and broccoli, again just blanched for 2 or 3 minutes in some salted water. And we've made a little fondant potato, cut out a potato, cook it slowly in the oven, some butter, a little bit of stock. So again, we'll just reheat that. So we're just going to take the steak out now, take the short rib back out.
I will do that, which has just been reheated and is just falling apart.
So say we're just nearly ready to plate up there now.
Okay.
So roast pumpkin puree, a medallion of fillet, purple sprout and broccoli, rainbow carrots, a little beignet then made from our pulled beef, fondant potato, and some of our braised short rib, and a lovely jus that we've made from the bones from the beef as well.
It looks so colourful. Such an amount of work. I'm going to taste it if you don't mind. I love the short. Look at that, pulling apart. Just melting them out. That's seriously good. The fillet is melting them out. Short rib. What an absolutely beautiful dish. It's been wonderful meeting you and your team. The journey of the food from the farm to fork, you live and breathe it. Thank you so much for your time to you and your team.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Always look for food with the bordbia quality mark, so you can relax and enjoy it more.